When I was a little girl, I always dreamed of being a mom. I couldn't wait to start a family. Shortly after high school, I got married, and a couple years later, we had a bouncing baby boy. The joy that came from having this child, a child that God had chosen me to be the mother of, was overwhelming. I mean, it's a love that you can't even describe. A couple years later, after John was born, we delivered a beautiful baby girl named Alexis. Our whole lives had changed. Our family was finally complete. Every dream that I've ever wanted was coming true. Unfortunately, when the kids were 1 and 3, their dad and I got a divorce, and I became a single mom. But being a single mom was actually rewarding because it gave me a closeness with my children that I hadn't had before. I enjoyed watching them learn and do new things and build that special bond with them. As they grew into teenagers, the fear of them graduating and leaving for college became overwhelming. My son was preparing, it was his senior year, and he was preparing to go off to college. And I remember the fear of thinking, my baby's leaving, he's leaving for college. And I would just go and I would sit and talk with him and tell him I wasn't ready. I don't want you to go. I would hug him and tell him I wanted him to stay home. Little did I know, God was preparing me for something far larger and more painful than him going to college. On November 26, 2017, my son was headed to a goat show, and he died in a one-vehicle accident. And as painful and as heartbreaking as that is, I can see how God is using it for his good. And it's hard to explain the feeling you get when your son dies or when you lose a child. I'll never forget the look on my husband's face as he came to tell me what had happened. And I just remember falling to the floor screaming, "Why? Why my son?" My mother-in-law picked me up off the ground and she said, "It's going to be okay. We have the same heart." I never knew what that meant until now. And what she meant is that a piece of your heart goes in heaven with your child. But God replaces it with joy. The pain's always going to be there. It never goes away. But God will give you comfort and he will help you through it. Shortly after, the next few months were a complete fog. But I relied on my faith and I dug into God and I read his word. And he carried me through it and he lifted me. He brought me from the darkness. Romans 8:28 says God works all things for the good. And I truly believe that. He's turning the ultimate loss that I've suffered into something positive. He's brought people in my life that have inspired me, they've guided me, they've been a great mentor for me, and now I'm able to help others through the pain and darkness that I've suffered. And it is my hope, through everything that I've gone through, that I can help others and give them comfort and help them stand on God's promises.